Welcome to Classic and Retro, and welcome back to our MG Midget project. Now you'll have to excuse my voice, I'm quite ill, but we're just going to crack on and get it done today. It needs doing, it's the only day I've got. So in the last videos, and if you haven't seen them, have a look at them. We got the suspension and brakes rebuilt, we got all the fluids drained out of the car and found quite a lot of water, and we stripped the interior ready for the new interior being fitted. In this video I want to get the car running and driving. So since the last video we've had a full set of tyres fitted. The wheels still need cleaning, but at least we've got nice new tyres on there. We're going to fit a full new ignition system, so distributor, coil, plugs, leads, you name it. And we're also going to fit a new starter motor because that was not working as it should. So that should get to the car to a point where it's running and driving, and we can take it to the body shop to get it painted. And then we'll be on home stretch with it. It finally looks like we've got a bit of a summer, so it's a perfect time to get this car out on the road. Yeah, that's it really. If you're not subscribed, please consider doing so. It does really help the channel out. And yeah, let's get a cup of tea and get cracked on with it. First thing we're going to do is get the spark plugs changed. Now it's always a good idea to clean out where they sit, make that nice and clean if you can. We've got some lovely new spark plugs which came as part of the ignition kit from AccuSpark. These look quite good, so we'll get those fitted first. Quite an easy job to do. On this particular car, they're 21mm, and yeah, let's get those fitted and move on to the next job. And there we go, 4 lovely new plugs fitted. There's no point to go mad tightening them down, you know, they only need to be nipped. A lot of people over tighten them, so they have got the sealing washer on the bottom. You just need to nip them up and that's plenty. So the next job is well, we need to get this trunking out of the way, which is fairly easy. It's actually held on by one screw, which I was hoping to try and not take out there, but we're going to have to. Now that's out of the way, you've got a lot better access to the coil. Coil don't look bad, looks like a Lucas Sport coil. I'm going to change it anyway as it's part of the kit. As you can still see, we've got a lot of cleaning up to do in here. Old Uniport oil filter, we've got a new one to go on there. Everything we're going to do today is in this area, because obviously we're swapping the starter motor and we're swapping the distributor. So we'll get the coil out of the way next, and then get the distributor out, and then we work our way from the bottom up, so we're not in our own way. If we replace the distributor, we'd have a pain of a time replacing the starter motor. So starter motor first, then distributor, and work our way up. Right, so the coil's next. Do yourself a favour and take a photo of how the wiring goes on, so you don't forget it next time when you come to put it back on. And then it's just held on with these two 11mm. You can unscrew a screw just there, which you can't really see on camera, but it's a flat bladed screw, and it like opens the clamp up a little so you can slide the coil out. Sometimes that's easier. I'm going to try and get the whole clamp off to give it a bit of a clean. Personal preference. But yeah, let's get the coil off and the wiring off. Ballast resistor. I'm guessing that was for the radio. I don't think we'll be refitting that. And what you can do, as you can probably see, these are slotted, so if you loosen one of them, you don't have to take them both out. For some unknown reason they didn't put captives on the bottom of them, so you've got to keep an eye on that. But once you've taken one out, like that, if the bottom one is slackened off, you can just wriggle coil out. That way you leave that one in, you don't have to fight that one. You can just slide your new coil in and locate it. Probably nothing wrong with this coil. There's the screw I was talking about to undo the bracket. Probably nothing wrong with this coil. We'll keep it as a spare actually, but the kit comes with a brand new one, so it makes sense to use it. Right, distributor time. So, got to get the vac advance off. We've already disconnected the wiring which goes to the coil. Now, the 25D or the early 25D distributor is held on to the car by a base plate. You can just see the base plate there, and this is actually held on by two 11mm bolts, which are not easy to get to. We're going to get them out now and then wriggle the distributor out. As I mentioned in a previous video on the Supra, when removing a distributor, it's always a good idea to take a note of where this is pointing, so when you put it back in, it ends at the same point. So we've had a gander at that. I'll speed this bit up because getting these bolts is ridiculous. Let's get them out and the distributor out. It is also worth mentioning that there's a pinch bolt on the top which you can't really see, which you need to undo as well. We'll get that one at the same time. Now we've actually got some space, we can see the starter motor, so I think we'll get the starter motor off next. Quite a big unit, and if the distributor was in, there's no way you get into that, so we'll get that done now. Always make sure when you're doing this you've disconnected the battery. You don't want any sparks flying about. So it looks to me like it's a 9/16 at the top, which it is. So there's two 9/16 and one main starter wire that goes onto it, which looks like it could be a 12mm, quite a loose 12mm apparently, since it didn't need cracking off. So yeah, let's get them off, get the starter motor off. Once you've undone the two 9/16 bolts and taken the wiring off, I've left that top one on just a couple of threads just to hold it in place. You're pretty much ready to take the starter off. Now you might have to give it a little tap. There we go, look. And then we can take that one off altogether. And out comes one very rusty starter motor. So yeah, we'll clean everything up and get the new one fitted. A quick comparison, old versus new. I mean, it's immediately obvious why we're doing this job, but the starter motor should obviously move really nice and freely. And although this one turns, it's completely seized. So yeah, definitely want to do him. That's the new starter motor fitted, all tightened up, and the wiring back on. If you can just see that down there. So now we've got plenty of room. We can get the oil filter back on, and we can get the new distributor in, and then we work our way up. We're getting there. New distributor, you saw me doing this earlier on. Quite an easy fit. So yeah, just pushes down in there, you can see it start to go home. And then if you just wiggle the rotor arm around a bit, might take a little bit of wiggling. Did you hear that? And then And that's in. Put those two 11mm back in, connect the vac advance back up, and then we need to make some ignition leads. Right, so HT leads. Here's the old cap with the old leads, and here are our new leads, which are about 2-3 feet too long. Now these are quite cool because they actually push into the cap, and then they have a small screw that goes in the inside to hold them in place. So what you can do, what happens is, there we go, will it focus? There. It just screws into place, it's not going to focus. So you can cut them down just with a pair of cutters. So you need to measure them out, cut them down. I'm going to do them one by one into the new cap, so I know I get them all in the right place. So yeah. Okay, so that's the coil bolted down. The HT leads are routed. Could probably do with losing a little length out of those, but we can fine tune that later. We just want to know if it runs and that. So the next job is connecting all the coil wiring up. We need to refer to as photo. Making a HT lead, we need to get some oil in, and then we can actually think about test running it. Come back to you in a minute. Right, so now the coil's wired up and we've put some oil in it. We haven't filled it to the maximum, it's just got enough oil in it for now. There's no coolant in it, we'll do that later, but we're at a point where we can test fire it. So it's simply a matter of cranking it over on the key without the coil lead on, which is I've already done, to make sure that there's oil pressure there, which there's plenty of oil pressure. Obviously as I was cranking I could see that the fuel filter bowl is filling up with fresh clean fuel, which in theory means that the carburetor float bowls are getting plenty of fuel as well. So we know that the fuel side of things is good, we know we've got oil pressure, and in theory the entire ignition system is brand new. So it's a case to connect the battery and turn the key. Bit of choke. Pump's kicked in. That's pretty sweet. Right, so that's amazing. We obviously need to set the timing properly with timing light, but that's a job for another day. We need to get some coolant in it, need to check the oil level, and then we need to get the brakes and clutch bled, because this car's got a date with the body shop in the next couple of days, just for some little bits and bobs done. And then yeah, we really are on the home straight with it. So we'll check the oil, get some coolant in. Love it, brilliant. Right, so as often is the case with old cars, things don't always go to plan. You heard it fire up, you heard it tick over and run nicely. The idea was to get the car driving today and get it taken to the body shop tomorrow, Monday. However, we've just gone to bleed the clutch. We thought we'd start with the clutch. It's the easiest one to do before you start messing around with all four corners. And as soon as we started bleeding the clutch, we managed to get the air out of the system to start with, but then it just felt wrong. Had a look, and the old clutch flexi line that goes, so you've got a hard line from the master cylinder down to the chassis leg, and then a flexi line from there to the slave cylinder. And we replaced the slave cylinder, we didn't replace the pipe, that's on me. So we've now had to order a flexi line, and we can't bleed the clutch. If we can't bleed the clutch, the car's not drivable. So there's obviously no point in going any further today. There's other things that we do need to be cracking on with. So we've ordered the clutch pipe, so as soon as that arrives we'll fit it, get it driving, get it down to the body shop. But for today that's it. We've made really good progress. We've got it driving, running I should say, not driving. So yeah, it's a big step forward. The interior trim's all ready to go back in. We've got another few bits and bobs on order for it. So yeah, that's it for this one. If you like this video and you want to see more progress on the Midget and on the Volvo and the other projects we've got going on, click subscribe, like this video, comment down below what you think of it, and I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.